Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another edition of Music Theory. Up until this point, I've discussed the building blocks of music, the intervals, which are then arranged into scales, and then the chords that come from those scales. Now what I'd like to do is actually show you what it's all for, because if you're only learning theory just to know it, then you're not really learning anything. It's just a bunch of useless information. But what you need to do is you need to know how to utilize that information and put it into practical application. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to take the song Lullaby, okay, which is by Brahms. Very old classic tune. Everybody knows it. And I'm going to go through and dissect this thing from a harmonic standpoint, lending credence to all the information we've done up to this point. I really want you guys to understand why you need to know theory so you can use it, because if you're not using theory, then you're wasting your time. So, the first thing you do when you look at a song is you check out the top, okay? You're going to notice the treble clef sign. You're going to notice your time signature, which is 3/4. And then you're going to look for the presence of sharps and or flats. And those sharps and flats are an indicator of what scale or key the song is written in. Everything we do on this channel starts in the key of C, because it's the most basic key. It's easy to visualize. You don't get the confusion with the black keys. My goal is to make this as easily digestible for anybody that wants to learn it. Every time I've ever looked at a theory video, there's always been some level of confusion from the person giving the lesson. I've always been left feeling like they could have done a better job explaining. So my goal is to literally demystify everything. All right? So when you look at the key signature here, you'll notice there's no sharps or flats. So the song is either going to be in a major key, a minor key, or mode. Now, typically, a whole song won't be written using a mode unless you're adventurous. As a rule, it's usually a major key or a minor key. In this case, we have no sharps or flats. So that means it's in one of two possible keys. It's either in C major, which has no sharps or flats, or it's in the relative minor of C major, which we've talked about in the previous video, and that is A minor. Okay? Both of those keys have no sharps or flats, no black keys. The easiest way to tell what key we're in is to look at the starting and ending chord. And in traditional sheet music, typically, you're going to have the melody being played in the treble clef, and you're going to have the harmony being played in the bass clef. Now, melody simply means a melodic phrase, a phrase of notes that are typically one note at a time, and it usually has a flow to it, right? And then with the harmony in the left hand, you're typically dealing with chords. Chords equals harmony. Harmony is the joining together in beautiful combination of different notes, right? So if you play one note, it's just one note. If you play two notes, now you've got a harmony, all right? Some harmonies are major, some are minor. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and look at the chords for this song. And I'm actually going to write out on a separate piece of paper, if I can find one. All right, we're back. I got some paper. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to write out the key of C for you. Let me just shut this keyboard off. Here we have the key of C. All right. Now, this is the 1 chord, 2 chord, 3 chord, 4 chord, 5 chord, and 6 chord. We're going to leave out the octave and the 7. We're not going to talk diminished chords yet. We'll save that for a later date. So this song, Lullaby, will most likely be composed of these chords. It doesn't mean it can't leave the key, but again, I like to do things in order so you understand the evolution of how things work. So we're going to stay in the key of C today with the song known as Lullaby. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at that first chord, all right? It is a C, E, and G, which if you know your basic theory, you know that that's a C chord. So the first chord is going to be the C chord, which is the 1. All right. I'm going to put some measures here. We'll kind of correspond with the sheet music. The second measure, we have a C, E, and a G again. So that is the C chord again as the 1 chord. Now I'm going to flip ahead just a tiny bit to measure 4 here. We've got a D, F, and G, which, if you were to rearrange those notes, would come out to the equivalent of a G7 chord. I'm going to write G7, which is the 5 chord. Right now they have D, F, and G. But if you were to rearrange that and do D, G, and F, that would be the root, 5th, and 7th of your 5 chord. Alright, so far we're dealing with a 1 chord to a 5 chord. I'm going to flip this down a little bit. We're going to check out line 2, where we have the 4 measures. The first measure is a B, F, and G. And again, if you invert that voicing a little bit and start with the G, we'll go G, B, F. You have the 1st, 3rd, and 7th of yet another G7 5 chord. All right? Going a little further here into measure 2 and 3. I'm just going to boil that down for you real quick. Measure 2 is the same as 1, and measure 3 is the same as the previous line, both of them being G7s. So far, the harmonic fabric of the song Lullaby is the key of C using a 1 to a 5 chord. All right? I'm going to do one more example for you before we break free of this. Thank you for sitting here as long as you have. If you're still here, you're awesome. Hope you're learning something. We're just going to analyze the first measure of line 3, which has a C, F, and an A. Now that chord is not in root position. We're going to take that C and voice it on top. We're going to call that F major, which is the 4 chord. All right? And then you guys are just going to have to trust me on the remainder of the song that it stays in the key of C with those 3 chords. So if you were going to discuss what Lullaby is in the key of C major, and it does a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. All right? That is the harmonic analysis of the song Lullaby. And you can do this with any song, right? This is obviously the first harmonic analysis on the channel. I wanted to make it very straightforward, basic, so that everybody can understand and follow along. I'm going to be doing these music theory lessons until I run out of ideas, which hopefully won't be for many, many years. So, questions, comments, like, subscribe. If you guys would like a personal, virtual lesson at a very reasonable price to elaborate or to answer questions, I'm available. As always, thank you for watching. Have a great day.